Oh my goodness, my throat. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this. Look at this. NYPD at least 11 shot overnight across New York City. And I'm going to let you guess where at least one of these shootings happened. It starts with a B and ends with Brooklyn.
Developing overnight, at least 11 people were shot in 10 separate shootings across
Did you hear
the
that?
city.
How many separate shootings?
In 10 separate shootings across the city. At least one of those shootings was
11 shot in 10 separate shootings.
deadly. Police say an 18-year-old man died after being shot in the chest in the Bronx. In a separate incident in Brooklyn, police say an innocent bystander was shot in the stomach after a fight outside a party. The 30-year-old woman was reportedly hit by a stray bullet when two men nearby opened fire when they were denied access to the event at the Tesla building on Van Brunt Street.
Oh shit! There was a Tesla event, you know where you, Van Brunt Street, that Tesla dealership? Someone was denied, and then they shot off a weapon, and someone was denied entry at some sort of event at the Tesla dealership. So shots ran out, and some bystander got shot in the stomach. So you're not even safe at the Tesla dealership. Okay.
I keep telling Erica
ran
that I like
off.
to visit some other areas, and she just wants to sit on the
Access to
stool
the
all day.
Hold on. Let's listen to this first.
Event at the Tesla building on Van Brunt Street in Red Hook. The gunman ran off. The victim was taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
Yep. So that is all I wanted to share with you guys today. As usual, you can see New York. Wonderful.
Violence breaking out across the city. By our count, there have been 11 people shot since late last night. Today, New York's Miles Miller is in the Bronx this morning, where one
I have said it before, and I'll say it again. Don't move to New York.
of those shootings turned deadly. Miles?
Gus, that's right. One of those victims, Jameek Bishop, he was shot right there on his stoop last night by a man who walked right up to him and shot him at point-blank range. Let's show you the crime scene video from last night. It was 11 o'clock when this all happened. Cops got the call of a shooting that happened. When cops and EMS arrived, they found him shot in the chest and in the face. He was taken to Jacoby Hospital. Where
oh, crap. In the face.
Told he was pronounced dead. Elsewhere in the city, in Red Hook, Brooklyn, a 30-year-old woman was struck by a stray bullet. We're told by detectives that that woman happened to be standing outside of the Tesla dealership where there was a party going on. A couple of men were denied entry into that party, and they started letting off rounds. She got one to the stomach, but is expected to survive. She's at Methodist Hospital this morning. Then, just about 30 minutes later, on Nostrand Avenue in Brooklyn, we were told a man was sitting in his car at a red light.
So the previous one was talking about Tesla dealership, right? And now it's talking about Nostrand.
At that time, another man got out of his car, shot him at that red light, and that man
he got shot at a red light.
Takes off and leaves his car in the middle of the intersection. The other man was
hold on, let me go back.
In his car at a red light.
Sorry.
Then, just about 30 minutes later, on Nostrand Avenue in Brooklyn, we were told a man was sitting in his car at a red light. It was at that time another man got out of his car, shot him at that red light, and that man takes off and leaves his car in the middle of the intersection. The other man was rushed to Kings County Hospital by EMS, where we're told he is listed in critical condition this morning. As you said, we're talking about 10 shooting incidents, and 11 victims in all of this. This is still an active crime scene. They're waiting for the crime scene unit to come here and collect evidence. We are live this morning in the Wakefield section of the Bronx. I'm Miles Miller. News 4 New York, back to you.
Yeah, so I just want to say this because I know, yep, that's the same Tesla dealership actually. So in case you guys didn't know, you're not really.
Can you guys tell Erica that I'd like to go and visit other parts of the U.S. instead of sit in the kitchen all day? It's very difficult to get her to go out places with me. I want to travel. I want to see Virginia, Florida, Ohio. Like, I want to see the rest of the country, but she wants to sit here.
No, it's not that. I just don't want to stay in a car for, extended periods of time, especially when I feel car sick. Like, I told him, I said, look, I told him, I said, look, I don't mind getting in a plane, but driving in a car for 15 hours or something like that just to get to one destination. 15 hours
at a time. You took a break. Go to a motel.
6 hours at a time.
Okay, then get shot.
Huh?
Get shot. Go outside in your dress.
Huh?
Go outside in your dress. You'll spend 6 hours in an ambulance instead of 6 hours in a car.
It's just that I get car sick, that's all. So yeah, and I don't know if you guys remember, but when we were going out for like the right to repair stuff, we went on the Greyhound, and it was from here all the way up to, I forgot how long that Greyhound was, but it was at least 5 hours, and I almost like lost my cookies inside of that porta potty because it was just like the rocking and the turns and everything like that. It really screws me up. So I don't mind going in a car, but it has to be like kind of short periods of time. It can't be extended periods of time, either that, or let's be real here, right? If I'm feeling queasy, then I'm a miserable person because I just feel queasy, and it's like once I feel sick, it's hard for me to be happy. It's really, I can't get out of that funk because I don't feel good. So that's the thing. It's just, I don't mind traveling by plane, but it's just me being in a car for an extended period amount of time, and if I'm not feeling good, then I don't want to talk, and if I don't want to talk, then I'm not good company at all. Yeah, and it's hard for me to like snap out of it. So that's my thing. Now the Dramamine and stuff doesn't, it kind of works, but it's just like, oh. So that's my thinking about that. It just sucks. So, like I said, I have no problem, because if I don't talk, then I'm miserable company, right? And if I'm feeling nauseous or something, it's like I just want to like close my eyes and make it go away, kind of thing. So yeah, when I was on that Greyhound, I believe I took Dramamine. And I was just, it was just like, it's like the bumps and the roads and things like that, and it just eventually gets to you. And it's even like me, okay, look, even for me going from like JFK all the way to where we live, which is like a 2-hour ride or so, 1 or 2 hour ride. I think it's like closer to 1 hour. Because it's just so many turns and potholes and bumps and things like that, I feel really queasy after a while. It's like I almost like threw up in the Uber like twice, because I just feel so car sick. And this is, and this is like, yeah, it's like if I feel queasy, I'm impeding a lot of stuff, right? If you want to move and I'm feeling queasy, it's like you take breaks and things like that, and you have to kind of stay ideally within a timetable. So I see myself as dead weight when it comes to that kind of stuff. You can compromise. So I don't know what it is, but yeah, even when we go out to places, like when we come back home, I'm just tired. It's just me just sitting there, and I just feel tired. It's just like going 2 hours at a time or something, right? 1 hour at it just makes me feel like tired at the end of it. I don't know if it's like freaking New York roads or what it is. I think Hawaii is definitely shorter distance, but yeah, I just want to sleep normally when I get back home. So I don't know. I'm just not meant for cars. That's when it comes down to it. Um, Yeah, so anonymous individual like sitting and staring at a window, for me it's like I don't know what it is. I just feel really I being in a car really gets to me. And it's not like a psychological thing. I just feel like worn out and tired and things like that. So he wants to go to, where do you want to travel to?
Where does the chat vote? I was thinking of visiting Chris from the Discord in Virginia Beach to check out his store. Virginia Beach is by a beach, Erica. It's like Hawaii. They have a beach.
Let me check. Hold on.
Or what if we check out Fort Lauderdale, Florida? Or we could visit JP. JP's in Florida. You want to visit JP? No. What about that place, that nice town in
Hold on. Let me figure out how far Virginia Beach is.
It's far enough that you're going to be mad. But you're going to be mad at any place that's more than 2 miles from here. So it doesn't...
No, that's bullshit. I don't feel mad if it's more than 2 miles from here. I have no problem going to like Queens or Long Island. It's just like going, something like 400 miles. That's
400 miles, Erica.
That's the thing that gets to me. Because usually when we travel, it's like, what, 20 miles?
Are you streaming your screen?
No, I'm not. I don't want, not this one. It's this one that's shown. See it?
No.
Yeah.
Also, you just did Virginia Beach, Florida, Erica. That's the wrong Virginia Beach. You're looking for Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Oh.
Either way, it's going to be far enough that you're not going to want to go.
So 494 miles.
You're going to sit on this perch all day. And then tomorrow you're going to sit on the perch all day.
No, but I'm, the thing is like, I think people understand, like, why I'm not, I don't mind traveling to there. It's just going 494 miles.
How many rest stops do you
in
want
a car, huh?
I'll give you as many rest stops as you like. You get as unlimited rest stops. Where you can lay down.
Because, like, normally when we travel, it's only about 20 miles at a time. So you guys are understanding where I'm coming from, I imagine. And then the other thing, too, is that, right, I have to be very mindful over here. Like, if the more rest stops I take, the more time is being taken. So it's like, if you tell someone, hey, I'm going to meet you during this time, then I'm putting a whole wrench at that schedule, because it's like, okay, well, we'll see you tomorrow at, let's say, 5 p.m. And I'm feeling, here's my thinking, right? I don't want to be miserable company. I don't want to be seeing someone and then they're like, oh, how come Erica looks like she's just all like, she's so quiet and moody? And it's like, well, I don't want to really like lose my, I'm dealing with a headache or I'm dealing with certain things. And I just think I turn into miserable company that way. So I know how I am when I feel car sick, and I know how I am when I have a headache, and it's just like, I don't want to talk. I just choose not to, because it's like, I just feel like a whole like self-preservation thing. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, if anybody has like a headache or a car sickness, you guys will understand where I'm coming from. And I've tried a lot of things. I've tried ginger pills. I've tried Dramamine. I've tried what else? There's ginger gum, ginger slices, Dramamine. Yeah, and I remember when I was on that Greyhound, I had ginger slices on me too, and it was like, I was thinking to myself, like, how come this stuff isn't working? It's supposed to be working, but yeah, it's just, yeah, so I never had to deal with this problem in Hawaii, but again, remember, Hawaii is a small little freaking island. We're not 494 miles. You guys can look how big Honolulu, Hawaii is, and normally, well, like, if I'm in the car, it's only for about 30 minutes at a time. Yeah, but the thing is that I'm going to be perceived as being an unhappy, miserable person if I don't talk. Like I said, I have no problem going on a plane. I have zero problem going on a plane. It's just... like, in right to repair, if you fly from here to Maine, right, I have no problem with that. Zero whatsoever. But it's like going on a Greyhound. That's the thing that really gets to me. No, it's like if you feel like queasy and then you have a headache and things like that, you start thinking like, oh my goodness, like, I don't want to talk. I just want the stuff to go away, kind of thing. And yeah, if you go this kind of far miles, right, you have to think like, oh, where am I going to pee? Rest stops, that kind of stuff. And then the whole situation, right? I mean, I'm sure it's a little easier, but I remember like when we went to Jersey on the Yuba, I remember there were times where it's like, you want to go to the restroom and they say, sorry, you know, even though you bought something, you can't use the restroom here. And it's like, okay. So that was eye-opening to me and this was what, sometime last year. But I understood it, you know, it's like the fear about the COVID stuff. People, people are just like, I don't want people using my restroom because I don't want this freaking virus showing up all over the place. Um, you know what? Here's the thing, Scooby. Have you ever been on a Greyhound? Because I'm gonna be real with you. Greyhound bathrooms smell absolutely nauseous. In fact, it is so bad. I would not recommend sitting within 2 or 3 rows in front of the bathroom or next to the bathroom because you're gonna smell urine, a strong stench of urine. Seriously. So if you can, like go maybe like four or maybe stay in the middle or towards the front, something like that. Like stay away from the bathroom because you don't want to be sitting in the Greyhound for let's say 5 6 hours just smelling strong urine. And that's the thing like people don't talk about for the Greyhound. Like in Hawaii, we don't have a Greyhound, right? So it's like I think like what's the big deal about that? Isn't like a giant tour bus, but if they don't clean it, it smells like crap. Um, no, New York City doesn't smell like urine. I've walked around in Manhattan. I've walked around in Brooklyn. I don't smell it. Yeah, so it's not as glamorous as you might think for a Greyhound. I absolutely hate the idea of using a Greyhound. It's like because that's like you can't adjust where you are really where you're seated. And yeah, it's great that you have a bathroom, but other than that, it's just like oh, it was a miserable ride. Me going on that Greyhound, I was like, oh, I can't tell the driver to stop. I just have to hold on. No, it's not that. It's like even if I go on the car ride, sometimes now it's like he says like I'm not happy or I'm not smiling, and I say like it's not that. It's just I know how I am in a car. It's like if you feel like if your head is starting to hurt and stuff, you're not gonna be all like, hey, I'm in a really good mood right now, right? You're just gonna think like, oh, just make this thing go away. Like just I can't wait till that kind of stuff. And let's be real here, right? Let's be real here. No, it's like if you are not um hardy to go on a long car ride and you know that because you've been on a Greyhound, you've been on long car rides as well. It gets pretty taxing. Um, and kind of stuff. Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, no, I mean the thing is that I walked past it. Like, we live in an area where there's crime and then people shoot weapons and people steal from each other. And I can tell you my whole thinking, okay? So I went to pick up something. I walked back on Gates Avenue and then I thought like, oh, I really want to eat some juk, some congee, right? You guys can look it up. It's like a rice. Let me look this up. So I really wanted to have oh crap. I really wanted to have this because it's like I'm trying to up my carbs. So as a result of this, right, I passed by this place and I thought, oh, okay, let's go out to eat dinner over here. So that's because I was already on the street walking home. So I tell Lewis, like, because he's on the phone with someone, right? Okay, let's just walk to a restaurant because I feel like eating Joe. I need to carb up. I need to get out of ketosis. So it wasn't like I was intentionally trying to troll him. It's really because I was walking there earlier. So anybody who thinks like I wanted to do a hit on him, it's like, well, I was walking there earlier. It's not intentional. It's really that there's no other juk place around our area that I can find, like Kongi place. So that's why I went over there. What? You're restricted? What? How are you restricted on your other account? Let me see. That's so weird. Yeah, let me check about that. Let me check into that later on. I mean, I don't know how come you're restricted, but I'm sorry if you got restricted, because you definitely shouldn't be restricted, Danny. For sure you shouldn't be restricted. So I gotta check into that. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, why is I don't know what's going on. YouTube is very funny. YouTube is very funny in that way. Like they do the stupid things. Anonymous individual says, I once took a Greyhound bus around the entire country and it was miserable. Surely you can handle 495 more miles. No, I didn't try to restrict you, Wes. No, I'd rather be in the car than the Yuba for sure. I'll tell you why, because if you get hit by another car, in a car, you're gonna be okay if you have a seatbelt. If you get hit by a car when you're in a bike, there's a good chance you can die. And then you're also gonna be exposed to the elements, and then, yeah, I mean, like, it sounds nice to be on the Yuba, but going across the country in a Yuba, rain, I don't know, all sorts of stuff in there. Can't go on the freeway on that thing. Sunburned, that sort of thing. Yeah, don't be stuck on Crime Central either. Virginia. I mean, like, when do you want to go? You want to go right now? Because I don't want to go right now. Yeah, the Americanized juk. No, I don't want to go. Like, I'm not. See, like, for me, it's like I always think, like, okay, well, like, you plan it out ahead. I'm not that kind of person where it's just like, just up and go kind of thing. How about next week, Monday? Does next week, Monday sound okay? Actually, I'd rather do next week, Tuesday. Next week, Tuesday. What do you think about that? $494 miles, you guys. Isn't there a train? No, there's probably a train, but he doesn't want to go on the train. Amtrak. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I don't mind Amtrak really. But Amtrak is expensive, I think. So yeah, it's cheaper to just drive there. But I haven't had any problems being on Amtrak. So only problem I have is long car ride and Greyhound. But I don't have any problem taking a plane, and I have no problem. I don't remember having any problem with the Amtrak, so I'm gonna say I'm fine with the Amtrak. I think it's because the Amtrak is just forward and you don't take any turns. No, I haven't tried a silk shirt. But yeah, what do you think about Tuesday? Hmm? Lewis, what do you think about Tuesday? Oh, Daniela says I took a Greyhound from Maine. Yeah, I don't know if we took a Greyhound from Maine to, I think we took a Greyhound from Maine to Massachusetts, but I can't, might be remembering it wrong. And that was just like, oh. So yeah, if you guys ever go on a Greyhound, please do not sit within like three rows. I think it's like 3 rows, definitely not 2 rows. 3 rows within the toilet. Because if you do that, you're gonna feel like you're gonna smell urine throughout the whole ride. Yeah, Daniela has it right. Plain Amtrak Greyhound. Yeah. The best one would be teleportation if you could, right? Hey, so what do you think Tuesday? What do you think of Tuesday?
Huh?
What do you think of Tuesday? I just asked you. What do you think of Tuesday? Huh? Okay, yeah, he tuned me out.
Yeah, let's do Tuesday.
Okay, we'll do Tuesday. But you know what? Don't make any promises when we're gonna arrive somewhere, because I don't want to be like, oh, how come it's taking so long, and then I get the freaking blame about someone waiting. You know what I'm saying? Like if you tell someone, oh, I'll see you on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Because I really don't want that. Because I know it could happen, right? And then it's going to be like, okay, let's just blame Erica because Erica's holding up stuff. But again, I know how queasy I feel about certain things, and yeah. But I don't. It's just a lot. Oh, I don't fucking know. Do we have to quarantine? Let's see. Huh? Oh, I don't.
Erica.
What? No, I'm just curious. This is. I never saw that. Oh, look at my little Hawaii. Hawaii. Jeez. Oh, for fuck's sake. No, but I mean, like the whole bike thing, right? Like be real here. Let's be real here. Out of the 29 people watching this thing, would you go on a bike for 494 miles? Really? Would you guys? I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh, Daniela, what was my fashion advice? I go on all these sorts of things. I'm just curious what it was. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Daniela, those things are amazing. Yeah, those wraparound kimonos are great. I wish I could wear one, but because of my skin, I can't wear them. But Yeah, they're great because it's like you can if you're lazy, right? You can go to sleep in them, wake up, grab your mail with them, go out, throw a bra on if you do like to wear a bra. I have to wear a bra because it's cold. Throw a bra on, go to the grocery store, and if someone like stops, let's say if someone like rings your doorbell because let's say you have an Amazon package or a UPS package, like you don't have to worry about how bummy you look. I think it looks so classy, and a wrap kimono dress is just it's effortless, right? So it's like you always feel like when you look in the mirror, you're like, man, I look good. It's I think wrap kimono dresses are so flattering, really, really flattering. So yeah, and they have such cute prints for them, such really nice prints, and it's cheap. And if you gain a little weight or if you lose a little weight, you don't have to worry much. In fact, one of the wrap kimono dresses that I have is a size large, and I'm usually a size small, right? But you can't really tell it's a large. That's a weird thing about it. Yep, yep, yeah. So it's seriously cut back on the stress of getting dressed. Yeah, yeah. So when you wake up, right? Usually some people when they get out of bed, they're like, "Oh, I look like crap." Or you have your t-shirt on or your shorts or your leggings and you get out of bed, you pass the mirror and you're like, "Oh, I look terrible." But when you have that dress on, it's like, yeah, maybe you have to brush your hair. Of course, you got to brush your teeth, but other than that, you look fine, right? You look fine. You look more elevated. So if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, this is what I'm talking about. So this stuff, these dresses are a godsend. I found them out by accident. See these? They are so flattering. You can sleep in these dresses. A lot of them are polyester synthetics though, so I can't wear them right now. I'm in freaking t-shirts. But see like this? Like this? So you wear them and you can even go to work in these dresses too. I mean, this is like ultimate lazy kind of dress. So usually they have like a little hole on the side and then you can tie it over. But I think that you can get these really pretty prints. So let me find a pretty print one. Yeah, so something like this. This one, I don't know if it's a wrap dress. Maybe it is. So this kind of stuff. Okay, that one's not form flattering. But you get what I'm saying. So this one, yeah, this one is not a wrap dress, but it ties off, it opens up. Let me show you guys this one. Find a wrap dress. Like this, see? So it ties on the side, there's a little hole, and then you kind of tie it on like you're wearing a bathrobe. But make sure you double knot it. So yeah, you double knot it because you don't want your bow to open up accidentally. So I always double knot mine. But they're really great. See? Something like that. I usually like going for the short sleeve ones. See? Like this. See, it's a wrap dress. So you can go to sleep in this. You can go to work in this. It's see how pretty that looks. Let me find one. Oh, see, here's one. I guarantee you, for anybody shopping, like you don't really see that many women wear wrap dresses or like that nice black wrap dress. Like, can you imagine if someone's like cooking and they wear that wrap dress and then they just casually go out and they just run errands in that same wrap dress? People would think like, man, this woman looks like she really takes care of herself. But truly, she could just be a lazy bum and just but have this piece of clothing that does a lot of work. Oh, see, I kind of like this wrap dress. Find another nice wrap dress. Okay, you guys get the idea. So it ties in on the side. Let's see. But yeah, they have so many different pretty prints of it. See? You could just throw on a hat and you'll be okay. So this stuff, I see them at like cheaper places. I see them at, oh, see, look how pretty that looks. I mean, I think this is a bathrobe, but it's so pretty. Man, that's so pretty. I would love to have that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, you guys are getting the idea. You guys are getting the idea for sure. So I'm big fan of this. Again, if you gain weight, this thing is super forgiving. If you lose weight, it's super forgiving. And I think that sometimes women overcomplicate things and then they think like, oh, you know, I need to buy this or I need to buy that. But if you have like this like a multi-purpose kind of dress, right? So like this, right? Multi-purpose dress, it's like you always feel awesome, and then at the end of it, it's like you have higher self-confidence because you just look at yourself, and even though you're not putting in too much work, right? The work is really picking out the really nice dress. Like something like this, oh my goodness, I love this dress. Something like this is nice. So you have if you pick a dress that has a really flattering print, it you will you will look like you put in so much effort of yourself, and all you had to do is just really maybe brush your hair or just like do the same thing that you normally do, but really the outfit makes a huge freaking difference. So yeah, wrap dresses are one of those things that are absolutely essential. Effortless and classy. Yeah, so Daniela, I'm super happy. I'm super happy that you find that it's benefiting you, and yeah, that's the whole point of it, right? It's like you feel better, and people around you, if you live with anybody, I'm sure they notice. They're like, wow, Daniela looks like she's taking care of herself more, and she looks awesome, and you feel great, and you don't feel like you're going to be caught off guard. For me right now, like I would be caught off guard because I'm in freaking cotton t-shirt. Yeah, so the mold situation, I scrubbed it yesterday. Tomorrow, today I'm gonna see how it looks like and things like that. But I know Andrea had mentioned colloidal silver would work. I already sprayed it with vinegar yesterday night too, but I think it's like seeped through the freaking wood. So, I mean, it's through the paint. So even though I scrub, it's just, I have to repaint the thing. And one thing about New York, you guys, like, I got to show you like some footage of our front door, for instance. So the landlord had someone paint the front door, and they did such a shitty job. I'm going to diss them for this, right? They did such a shitty job. It's like they didn't even tape around the freaking doorknob. Yeah, so it's just like they just got a paintbrush and just slapped the fucking paint on. And that's why if you look around like the apartment, you'll see really thick layers of paint because it's like, okay, we got to paint the wall. Okay, we'll just slab another paint wall. We got to paint the window. We got to put another layer of thick paint on. It's like the fucking laziest paint job ever. And yeah, there was no painter's tape used. It was just try to paint around it. And then, of course, because you're not taping stuff, right? It just drips and smears, and yeah, there's no shits given. But who cares, right? It's painted. Oh my gosh, my got foot fungus when he lived in a 200-year-old bar. Oh my god, yeah, I think the place we live in right now is like 100 years old, so it's halfway there. And you can't really do anything about the bathroom because it's like the bathroom has no ventilation. I've always wondered like how come the bathroom's ventilation was so terrible, but because it's such an old building, they never thought about installing fans. And yeah, it's just yeah, I gotta take a picture and put it in my community post later today. Like how great the freaking front door looks. And yeah, no shit's given of that stuff. But I like to think, yeah, the job got done. So yeah, the whole thing about like being a landlord in New York, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. You don't have to do much. It's like the property just appreciates over time. So it's like, okay, who cares if you have a shitty paint job? It's like you're not the value of the place isn't in the paint job. It's really like the structure, right? It's the fact that it's a building. Yeah. Claw molding. Yeah, there's no exhaust fan. There's absolutely no exhaust fan, Outseeker. So that's the big difference here, right? And then the window doesn't stay open. So it turns into basically a sauna. So we have a dehumidifier inside of the bathroom, but even then, it's like it doesn't have the same thing as an exhaust fan. So yeah, there's no termites. That is an upside on that. But I just now this stuff. So yeah, I know some people in my chat have mentioned that they've had issues with black mold, and maybe that's causing my skin issues. Could be the case, could be the case. But I still believe I have keto rash. But yeah, so I'm tackling the mold issue, seeing how that turns out, and it is a slow but sure thing. So yeah, yesterday night I scrubbed it best I could. Doesn't look like it really changed much, even though I scrubbed the beep out of it, because it's in the paint. And then yeah, I sprayed it with vinegar, and I'll spray it with vinegar again. And yeah, we'll see how the colloidal silver works out. Yeah, Outseeker, you're right. So what happens is that when we take a shower, right? If you take a shower longer than 5 minutes or so, 5 minutes, the steam builds up. So the steam builds up, and that causes a humidity issue. So even if we have a dehumidifier in there, right? Once you have mold spores, it's really hard to get rid of the molds, because it basically turns into a sauna. I mean, everything fogs up in the bathroom really quickly. So, yeah, but what can you do about it? Yeah, at the end of it, it's like I feel like with New York, it's like you should be thankful you have a place to stay, because it's New York. So again, don't move to New York, in case you guys like think about, hey, let me, I want to move to New York. I want to live Sex in the City, glamorous lifestyle. Don't bullshit yourself, okay? If anybody follows my channel, you guys will know, like, I am a big fan of saying no to New York. Like, no, 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 no. I wouldn't want anybody to move to New York. In fact, I think New York is just, you gotta watch your back. You gotta watch your back. And yeah, you hear about that shooting, and like I showed you guys earlier, right? New York crime spree yesterday. I shouldn't say crime spree. I should say shooting spree. So, see, 10 wounded in overnight New York shootings. 10 separate shootings across New York City. And this is why I hate it when people, and I know people are going to get pissed off at me for saying this, but this is why I hate it when people say, like, we don't need police. I'm like, you really fucking going to tell me that we don't need police? Seriously? Like, yeah, like, get rid of the police. Like, there are some people in New York who believe that, and I'm thinking, like, do you not live in the same place that we live? Do you not live in New York City? Do you not live in Brooklyn? But it's like, I think that the only way to lessen this stuff is to have more police, and to do more harsher sentences, because from what I catch, it's like the police don't catch a lot of people, so when they don't get caught, right, they're like, I'm gonna keep doing this because there's no repercussions, right? I don't get into this party that I want to get into, okay, I'm gonna start firing out my weapon. Someone gets shot, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna flee and no one's gonna catch me. So it's that kind of mentality. It's like very, very quick to just escalate to violence, and I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's like, you got denied. What do you think bringing out a weapon will do? What, people are gonna suddenly let you in without any hesitation? Like, oh yeah, yeah, you can definitely enjoy the party. Yeah. So I think that you just need to have more policing, because it's like, look, I'm not against the police, but what I'm against is like people just constantly, like, police just people just constantly getting away, people committing these crimes and nobody catches them. That's the thing I'm really against. But I hope that person is caught. I hope they have a sentence longer than 5 minutes. I don't want it to be like, okay, well, we're just gonna put you on probation. Yeah, we know you fired a weapon, but just place some, I don't know, $1,000 bond, and yeah, we'll put you on probation. Yeah, just don't do it again, like that kind of stuff. I'm like, bullshit. Yeah. Yeah. So. Mm. Yeah, gun control, in my opinion, like telling people like don't have guns is not gonna help. It's the same like telling people like don't commit violence and they still commit violence. You need to have more what's that word? More punishment. Oh, you know what? South Korea has mandatory military service. I don't know how that works out for them because I don't know much about South Korean crime. But you know what? If you think it makes it makes the place safer, like yeah, I'm not against it. I think it definitely instills people to follow, right? To respect or to have this kind of like sense of like you need to listen or do certain things and or you have like a bigger picture. It's not like yeah, how would I say? It instills respect for people who are, respect for other people, and then it also promotes, I think, what was that word? Patriotism? Is that the word I'm looking for? Patriotism? I think sometimes it's like people that they don't really care about the country, so they don't really think about the repercussions about certain things. Mm. Yeah, I mean, I don't hear anything bad about South Korea. Is it just me? South Korea has one. What else has man? I know North Korea has one, but let's not talk about North Korea because yeah, North Korea is yeah, it's its own little place. What happened? Okay, so Luke Davis wants to know what happened. Okay, we're just gonna replay this. Okay.
To a developing story, gun violence breaking out across the city.
Look at how much separate instances.
By our count, there have been 11 people shot since late last night. Today, New York's Miles Miller is in the Bronx this morning, where one of those shootings turned deadly. Miles?
Gus, that's right. One of those victims, Jameek Bishop, he was shot right there on his stoop last night by a man who walked right up to him and shot him at point blank range. Let's show you the crime scene video from last night. It was 11 o'clock when this all happened. Cops got the call of a shooting that happened. When cops and EMS arrived, they found him shot in the chest and in the face. He was taken to Jacoby Hospital, where we're told he was pronounced dead. Elsewhere in the city, in Red Hook, Brooklyn, a 30-year-old woman was struck by a stray
This is the Tesla dealership.
bullet. We're told by detectives that that woman happened to be standing outside of the Tesla dealership where there was a party going on. A couple of men were denied entry into that party, and they started letting off rounds. She got one to the stomach, but is expected to survive. She's at Methodist Hospital this morning. Then, just about 30 minutes later, on Nostrand Avenue in Brooklyn, we were told a man was sitting in his car at a red light. It was at that time another man got out of his car, shot him at that red light, and that man takes off and leaves his car in the middle of the intersection. The other man was rushed to Kings County Hospital by EMS, where we're told he is listed in critical condition this morning. As you said, we're talking about 10 incidents, 10 shooting incidents, and 11 victims in all of this.
So 10 separate shooting instances in New York yesterday night where you had 11 people wounded. One of them died.
This is still an active crime scene. They're waiting for the crime scene unit to come.
So yeah, New York is not getting safer. It isn't. Yeah, so this kind of stuff, see, it's like uh and then it's like I don't even know what causes it, right? It's like why did you have so many shooting instances yesterday night? I don't know. Nobody knows. It just but like I said, the dangerous thing is all these people who did this kind of stuff, if they are not found by police, what is preventing them from stopping? Nothing is preventing them from stopping. So it's going to keep going on. The people get denied at a party. What's the reaction? Shoot them, right? Or shoot people around. And this is one of the reasons why you guys heard my thoughts about the Adam Toledo case. Like I understand people are going to be like, well, Erica, he's a 13-year-old kid. I take it very seriously if I hear about people like randomly shooting at people or like just out in the open because you don't know where those bullets are going to lie. People can get hurt. bystanders can get hurt. And like that woman who got shot in the stomach, she had nothing to do with it. She just so happened to be in the area. So I don't just be like, oh, okay, yeah, someone was firing off a gun, just let them be. It's like you don't know who could get hit. There have been small kids who have been injured in Brooklyn. I've heard about that, and they just got hit with a stray bullet, and that's not good. That's not good at all. Yeah. The shooting's getting worse. As in trade, it seems like it's getting worse. And again, nobody knows why it's getting worse. It's like, mm, maybe it's because the weather is warmer, so now you can go out without having to freeze your ass. Maybe that's it. Um, who knows? But it is something to really think about. And oh, carbon neutral. I wish that you heard. I wish we heard more about that stuff instead of people dying in New York. But yeah, don't move to New York, okay? Like for the 37 people watching this stuff, like do not move to New York. Don't move to New York. Stay away from New York. If you want to visit New York, make sure you don't have any valuables with you. You got a nice watch, keep it at home. You got nice jewelry, keep it at home. You got a engagement or diamond ring, keep that at home. Okay? Or don't, yeah, keep it at home. And if you must insist on wearing jewelry, wear something like a simple band, like a stainless, like a silver band or something. Don't wear gold. Don't wear chains. Make sure you're not flashy, because as I've showed you guys, people look at people with jewelry and they see them as a target. And I know some women, they really like having their Louis Vuitton bags or Gucci bags. This is not a place you want to really show off this kind of stuff, for sure, because people will see your $1,000 Louis Vuitton bag and say, hey, I want to take that bag. I want to take that bag, not just because of the bag, but what could be inside of the bag, right? If you have a Louis Vuitton bag, maybe they think like, oh, this person has a lot of cash on them. This person has a maybe expensive wallet. Maybe this person has a high limit credit card that a person can rack up. Maybe they have an expensive phone that they could sell. Just all sorts of things in there. So yeah, I'm against the idea of having any nice, expensive looking bag because of that. There you go, Joseph. Walking jewelry boxes. Walking jewelry boxes is the way to go. Yeah, I don't want anybody to come to New York and then get robbed. Anybody who listens to the stream get robbed and then say, man, I had like a sentimental golden necklace with me and it got stolen because some person went up to me on a moped and just ripped it off. And I've showed you video where it just happened, I think last month or earlier this month. A woman was walking down the street somewhere in Manhattan, and a moped went up to her, pulled her gold, I think it was a golden necklace, but just some kind of chain off her neck, and then they just snatched her right off, and then they drove right past her. So yeah, don't think that if you're on the sidewalk in broad daylight, you have protection. One thing I've learned in New York, it's like any of this stuff can happen. It might be daytime, it could be afternoon, it could be at night. You are not only in danger at nighttime, you could very well be in danger at 2 p.m. on a weekday, for sure. Yeah, so, yeah. Just yeah, it's not worth it. And then you also have to be very, very mindful about like how I'd never had to really think that much about my appearance until I moved over to New York. It's like you have to constantly think, if you are walking outside, do you look like you have money? If you look like you have money, are you willing to lose that stuff in case anybody tries to rob you? right? Someone sees you with something nice, they could say, "Hey, give me this, give me your nice handbag, give me your phone, give me your wallet," that kind of stuff. And you're not going to fight them because you're going to say, "Well, I don't have a weapon on me. I don't want to escalate." And even if you think that they have a pointy weapon on them, you don't know if they're also packing heat on them, right? It's like they might threaten you with a knife, but do they have a gun? If they have a gun, they're not going to hesitate using that gun. I've showed you guys that one delivery driver. Let me show you guys this one. This guy, freaking sad. Oh, look at this. A FedEx driver got shot in the back. See this? Food delivery worker, 29-year-old, shot at East Harlem playground. Oh my gosh, I hate this stuff. See? So these people work very hard. You won't hear me say anything about delivery people at all. I respect them a lot. They get people who look down upon them, and I think it's wrong. So this person, right, they had an electric bike, and then some guy tried to rob him for his electric bike. He said no, and what happened? He got shot in the chest. And then that person, the dumbass, left his e-bike. And you could be like, "Erica, why is this person a dumbass for leaving the e-bike?" Here's the thing. You want to rob someone, right? You want to rob someone, you make the conscious decision to shoot them. You don't only risk getting blood on the bike, which is DNA evidence.
NYPD is on the hunt for the gunman who killed a delivery worker in East Harlem. Friends say Francisco Villarreal was...
So you don't even risk getting just DNA evidence on that bike, DNA evidence on yourself because of blood spatter, but you're also going to be hit with murder, right? And then also unlawful possession of a firearm. So, like, is it worth it? If someone refuses, like, why are you shooting them? And then what? I imagine, and people are going to give me shit about this, right? But it's like, I imagine this person just instantly thought, like, I'm going to shoot this person first, kill him, and then because in an act of, like, I'm in control of that situation. And then later on, it's like they just wasted their freaking time because they didn't even take the bike because the bike probably has blood spatter on it. What they should have done instead is not fire a weapon, or if you do fire a weapon, I know this is going to sound really callous, but do it far enough so the blood wouldn't go on the bike. But yeah, this person just shot first, and then I think it dawned on them, like, oh, blood spatter. Oh. So, yeah, I just I just think of it that way, because you have to think about blood spatter, right? It's like you shoot someone, you're gonna have all this stuff go on you. I don't know what the range was, but I imagine it was pretty close. Who knows how far the distance is, but yeah. But I don't think they found the guy who tried to rob him. So yeah, that guy went empty-handed, and now I'm assuming it's a he, but it could be a she, right? But now that person is probably wanted. Definitely the NYPD is looking for this assailant. Also, this person's family is looking for this person, but unfortunately, they have nothing. As far as I know, they have nothing to really go on, because if you're at 11 p.m. at night, it's so dark, people are wearing a face mask, you can't see shit. So what are you going to see? I saw a black shadow. That's it. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's dark, right? I would just be like dark on dark too, because a lot of people wear black. So yeah, especially if it's on like the upper view. Okay, what do you see? You see maybe their eyes. That's it. Their eyes, but their face should be covered, right? And then if it's cold, they're wearing a jacket, so you can't see if they have any identifying tattoos on them or anything like that. It's just like, okay, person with, let's say, with a black face covering on their face, maybe they have a winter hat, I don't know, with a black jacket. It's like freaking dime a dozen over here. What? What do you mean? What is this? Yeah, but yeah, this is what happens when people are too quick to violence and they don't think about the repercussions of their actions. But yeah, if I was a criminal, and let's say put it this way, hypothetical situation. Of course, don't listen to what I'm saying. But if I was a criminal, this is what I would do. I would, right? Hypothetical, right? This is what I would do if I wanted to cover my ass. You have them at a playground. They're probably alone. It's probably dark. There's probably limited lighting. So what you do is you grab your weapon out, and I would tell them, hey, go off in that corner or something like that, right? And then I wouldn't actually fire it, but I would threaten to fire it. And then afterwards, I would grab their bike, right? Make them walk like 20 feet away or something. And then I walk backwards with my weapon still pointed at them. And then I take their e bike and then I drive off. Because that way, right? That way my hands aren't on them. There's no gunpowder residue. There's no shots fired. There's no DNA evidence at all because it's a park. So there's so many people touching park benches and things like that. It's like, where would you even begin, right? How many people sit on a park bench? Quite a bit. So, yeah, you would get away pretty well, I would think. But how long that would be possible, I'm not too sure because if you steal an e-bike and let's say it's a bright color, let's say if it's like a blue or a green or something like that, then it would be caught by surveillance cameras around the area and then it would be very noticeable. So how you transport that bike without it being easily caught by, let's say, footage somewhere, that would be a problem. And I wouldn't know how to fix that one. But in terms of stealing it from someone, that's what I think would be the way to do it. Yeah, because most likely the delivery driver, I can almost assure you, the delivery driver doesn't have a gun on them, right? So if someone has a weapon pointed at them, they're going to comply. So it's easy for them to just tell them like walk 20 feet or something, and then just keep it pointed at them, and then take the bike and then go. So that way, if you're a criminal, at least you live with the bike. At least you don't have to think about, well, I did something and I don't have a bike and I got NYPD on my ass for murder and blood spatter and things like that. And then also when you fire a weapon, right? It makes noise, especially at 11 p.m. It's freaking quiet, I imagine. So everybody hears it. Then what happens? There's also shot spotter technology. People hear it, the police are probably radioed immediately to check the area. So you avoid that by not firing your weapon. Yeah, that's why they say it's hard for people to commit a perfect crime because they don't think things through. They just get mad and they're like, yeah, I didn't get into this party, let me shoot you. I want your bike, you didn't give it to me, let me shoot you. It's like, oh, that's really great. And it's like I don't even understand. Like the person who didn't get into a party, I'm like, why would you do that, right? Why would you shoot someone? It's like, okay, now you definitely got prison time. It's not just, oh, I hope you get prison time. I hope it's not some stupid thing like, oh, we're gonna give you a little parole, pay like a $500 fee, and we'll let you go. But yeah, I hope that there would be prison time for this kind of person. But it's freaking New York, so you never know. Does blood spatter when you shoot someone? Yes. It does. I imagine it does, depending on where it is, right? Let's see. Yeah, because if someone shoots them, yeah, if someone shoots themselves, then you can expect blood spatter to be somewhere. Like if they shoot themselves in the head, there would be blood spatter. I know that for a fact. But if they're wearing a t-shirt, that one I'm not too sure about because it would be multiple, it could be a layer on top. But I've always thought, like, because I know if you hit someone with a baseball bat, there definitely would be splatter. But yeah, I'm assuming so. I'm assuming so, but I don't know. It would all depend, like, how far the range is, right? Because if you're closer, right? Yeah, yeah. Um, like I've seen videos of people getting shot, but here's the thing, right? Like you might not see it, but it could be microscopic blood spatter somewhere. And it's going to be hard to see too because it's like if you're on pavement, maybe the blood doesn't show up, but then if they do some sort of testing or black light, I don't know what they do, it might show up somewhere. So that's why, yeah, sometimes like people get shot and then you hear about that stuff. Yeah. See, headshot with 12 gauge, yeah, brains bladder. So that one, yeah, definitely. So I don't know what kind of gun that person had. They don't say. I don't know if it's a messy one, like the bigger the gun, right? Like if you have like a rifle or something, I imagine that would definitely do blood spatter. But something like, I don't know, a Glock. I'm not too sure about that. Yeah, I've never looked into that one. Yeah, I don't know, because you have to think about microscopic blood spatter too. So unless someone here is in forensics, we wouldn't know. But from what I hear, yeah, there definitely can be spray somewhere. But yeah, gunpowder is definitely a real one too, right? Because you can have gunpowder residue on your hands. Now I'm gonna be curious. Now I'm gonna be curious about that. I'm probably gonna freaking I can't live leak it anymore, but I'm gonna be like, oh, I wonder. I wonder now. Yeah, but definitely a headshot will leave a splatter for sure. But a body shot? I've seen body shots and it's like I don't see anything, but again, I'm just looking at video, so I might not be seeing it, but if someone gets like shot against in a car or something or against a wall, maybe there is spatter, but we just don't notice it, right? Especially if there's like a dark interior or dark pavement or dark wall. Um, but police would be able to answer that. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I find this kind of stuff fascinating. I really do. But it also horrifies me to a certain extent because I always think to myself like, what would cause a person to escalate to violence so quickly? I think that it's very not too many people would be willing to resort to extinguishing another person's life over, let's say, an e-bike, right? Because you would think that if you commit murder like that, then that's indicative that you have a lot of anger built within you, right? Your first response is to just lash out. But it's like a fine line because it's like I understand why they might shoot someone, but then the other part of me thinks like, don't you have any humanity? Don't you recognize that this is another person? But maybe that shooter doesn't see them another person, but they just saw them as an obstacle. And it's like, you don't want to listen to me, you don't want to give me your bike, then I'm going to kill you because you are no use for me and you're worthless. And that kind of person with that kind of thinking is very, very dangerous. So I hope they find that person. Because it's like, can you imagine if someone tries to rob you and you say no, you can't take my purse, and then once you refuse, like that person just shoots you point blank, and then they walk away and they leave your purse. Like, you see where I'm getting at? That's a dangerous thing about that stuff. So, I'm always gonna be very much pro like you gotta have more people or you got to catch these criminals. You can't just be like, oh well, maybe they came from a bad background, maybe they got abused. So don't be too harsh on them. Because I'm like, no, 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 no. Once you do that kind of act, then it shows extreme amount of callousness and disregard and intention as well. You got to you got to prosecute with the fullest extent of the law. Everybody has a dark strain within themselves for sure, but you have to ask yourself, like, would you ever resort to extinguishing a person's life and then also having it on your conscience that you killed someone just because they never gave you over their bike, right? Can you live with that? I personally could not live with that. So, but other people could see a person and just see them as like, okay, you refuse, you're not listening to me, then screw you. You don't deserve to live. And yeah, they just walk away and they're like, I don't care if that person dies. They didn't listen to me. Yeah, I as a revenge or some kind of gang killing, I can definitely understand, but for a robbery, that's the thing that surprised me. Um, So yeah, first thing when I thought when I heard about this, besides this poor delivery man's family, right? Is that thief is not smart. That thief is out of control. That person has a rage issue clearly, and they really need to find that person, because the first reaction sometimes when people have when people try to steal things from them would be, no, I'm not giving it to you, right? But what if you say no, and what if that person says, without hesitation, they just shoot you? They're like, okay, you won't give me your wallet, okay, and then they shoot you, and then after they shoot you, they just leave you with your wallet, right? It's like, well, what did you die for? No reason. I assume that everybody has a conscience, but that's because I don't like to think about the depths of like depravity and the darkness of it. But I do recognize there are some people who are hardened, and they just are so far removed, whether it be through circumstances or conditioning. Conditioning, like if they're affiliated with a gang, um, that they just lose all. They stop seeing humans as individuals, and they just see them as like, can I get something from this person? There was this one person who had a failed bombing attempt. I know YouTube's gonna totally like shed on this video. So yeah, it's not monetized, of course, but there was this person who had something strapped to their midsection. I'm going to choose my words carefully, okay? They had something strapped to their midsection, and it failed, and they had some severe injuries to their torso region. And I remember they were asking the judge for leniency. This happened relatively recently too, and I remember they got like life in prison for sure. I was like, oh, thank God. But for these kind of people, the very dangerous thing about that is people are driven by their convictions to do certain actions, and they believe it's right, and then they just hold on to these beliefs with no care about other people, because it's like they have this idea that if they do this, somehow they'll be noble for their cause. But I just think, like, it's like, I understand why people do this stuff, but do you ever think about the innocence, right? Like, yeah, you might be against someone, but what if their children are there? What if there's a family of, let's say, 3, right? And then the mom dies, the dad dies, but the kid survives, but the kid is badly burned or something, right? It's like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Yeah, that one, the Times Square one. I think that was the Times Square one, yeah. Yeah, that was a failed one. Thank God it was failed. But see, stuff like that, I'm like, oh. So I had no remorse for the bomber. I was like, oh, screw him. So yeah, they tried to ask for leniency, if I remember correctly. They said they were sorry for what they did, and I was like, you should be sorry. I think they're just sorry because it failed. But when they were doing it, they weren't sorry. But can you imagine, like, if you do something like that, it fails, you have to go to the hospital, you end up with severe burns, and then every time you take off your shirt, you get a reminder of that. And then you know that everybody sees you as a freaking failure because of that, right? Let's say the people who supported it, right? But I don't know if he acted alone, but I like to think he had at least one person supporting him. That person would be like, man, that person fucked up. They were not even, they couldn't even just like do it to themselves, so they have to live with the freaking consequences of their inaction. And here's the other thing too. I just think, like, common sense, right? You fail at that kind of stuff. It's like, do you have like an awakening that what you did is wrong, or do you just be like, okay, I failed, let's see what happens? Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't think the person was, I think the person, let me see. Yeah, here we go. He was jailed for life. Yeah. And so I remember it happened in New York. I just forgot where it was. So he was jailed for life. See that? Okay, so he says he's acting by himself. It's like, why would you do that? So he was an electrician. Oh, gosh. Let's see. This is sad. See? He had a family. He has a family, a wife and a young son. That's the thing I never understood. Like, let's see. Okay, so here's the image. See, so he's walking and then it does that kind of stuff. And yeah, he ended up with some pretty bad burns. You can't see stuff. It looks like a giant bruise, I know, but I'm sure it was worse than that. Let's see. So this happened in 2010. Non-injuries, non-fatal, 0. Thank goodness. So he ended up with serious burns, but yeah, other people around him minor injuries. Let's see. You know what's definitely not gonna like this. But it's okay. It was the aftermath. Oh my god, the guy was only 31 years old too. I do not support harming innocent people. Ooh, look at this. It attached to his chest spreader rather than burst. Ooh. Oh gosh. That sounds terrible. What is so spiteful? Mmm. Tell me, what is so spiteful about what I said? Because from what I can recall, I said that, yeah, he... Hold on. Can you recant that? Well, if you commit any kind of crime, what sounded gleeful? No, tell me. Tell me. Like, you don't have to worry about upsetting me. Like, if you tell me that it sounds like I'm happy that the guy got injured, I'll be like, yeah, I'd rather have the guy get injured than everybody else. That he has burns in his own right. It's true, though. It's true. If you have something put on your torso and it goes off common sense is going to say you're going to end up with burns, right? If you touch something hot on the stove, you're going to end up with burns. It's not me being spiteful or hateful towards them. It's kind of common sense. If I burn myself accidentally on the stove because it's hot, then that's what happens. If you have an explosive on you and it goes off, you're going to end up with burns. But I'm just happy that nobody else got injured, because it could have been freaking terrible for sure, right? Didn't he? Here's the thing. Like, you hear about his mental state and stuff like that, but I'm not going to give someone a free pass for that at all. If you are depressed and stuff like that, you need to seek help. I can't think of many depressed individuals who say, I'm feeling depressed right now, let me go and do something so in a public area that I can harm other people and I can cause PTSD within another person. Like, people who have personal depression, it's a different depression than causing other people to have possibly lifelong traumatic injuries. See where I'm getting at? So I have no problem with that. Like, I have no problem with me saying, like, I don't feel bad that he got burned. I'm happy that it's just him and it's nobody else. Like, ideally this wouldn't have had happened, right? But with it being in Times Square, right? You don't know the impact of how big this thing could have been. I don't know either. All I know is that it seems like, for whatever reason, it messed up. But it takes a very specific kind of person who says, if you're going to fall back on the whole he was depressed kind of thing, right? To say, I'm not just going to cause injury to myself, but I'm going to also injure other people. And I'm also going to traumatize other people as well. And everybody can see the destruction that what happens, right? If it was successful, a number of people could have been injured. There were people with minor injuries from what I'm hearing. You don't know, because it looked like it was close to the subway, right? And there's a lot of glass there. So if you have explosion, you can end up with some sort of like glass shrapnel flying around. And I don't know how big that explosion could have been. Here's the thing. I don't know why he didn't get the death sentence. Maybe they said, well, we're not going to do that. We're just going to take it easy on him. I don't know why. But he got life. But yeah, I would have not been opposed to the death sentence at all, because it's like, I think that you need to send a message that in the event something happens like that, it's very much looked down upon. It's not just like, oh, okay, it's like you only possibly only killed one person or injured someone. It has to be dealt with very, very seriously, because what you don't want is, you don't want any people trying to repeat this kind of stuff. Yeah, well, yeah, people have done this kind of stuff for quite, many, many millennium, right? People don't think about the bigger repercussions, and yeah, that's a sad thing about it too, right? People make these kind of split-second decisions, and they get caught up in anger or something like that, and then they do certain stuff, and that's why it's like, when I hear about, and people are going to give me shit about this as well, but when I hear about cases about people getting bullied, and then their gut reaction is, hey, let me go ahead and let me do something to other people at my school or at my place of work, I don't think that's right. Because it's like, I think to myself, like, yes, some people would say, well, Erica, you should take pity on them because they were bullied. And I would say, well, I understand how you can feel that way, but why would you do something that can exterminate many lives? That's the thing I don't understand. Like, yes, bullying sucks. Bullying is terrible. But that doesn't give someone a free pass to just cause, to basically become like mass, what? It's like, okay, you could try to change schools. You can try to leave your place of employment. You can try, but don't take matters into your own hand because of that, because it's like you will really screw up your life kind of thing. So yeah, for the bullying thing, like I know some people, it's like, like the Parkland. Was it Parkland? Was that the one? The one with the guy who has a half brother or something? Let me see. Was it Parkland? I can't remember. Yeah, Parkland. This one, yeah. This one, yeah. Like I heard some people were saying like, oh, he should be given a free pass because he was bullied, or he was, yeah. See, but it doesn't mean that that's okay to do this kind of stuff. And I just never understood it. I never understood. Like I understand people get picked on. I understand that people get all sorts of stuff, but I never understood why you would exterminate other people's lives at your school. Not just the people who harmed you, but other people as well. Like, what do you get out of that? Your family will lose you, right? If you decide to do what Nicholas Cruz does, right? Your family will lose you. Your family will be, have to deal with the consequences of everybody, their their relative or their child. Everybody's like, oh, how could this person be such a heinous murderer? Um, yeah. And like that kind of stuff, it's like, well, just wait, like transfer schools or get out of your school or something like that. But never ever take stuff into your own hands like this, because now Nicholas Cruz, he's gonna be in jail for the rest of his life. It seems. I might be wrong, but probably, right? I don't know if they're gonna put death penalty for him. But so many people. So look, 22 years old. Jeez. Whatever bullying he had, it would have just, he could have gotten away with them. I don't know when he'd started to do it. No, see, I don't know much about this high school. But yeah, whenever I hear about this kind of stuff, I'm like, oh. So I also haven't read too much about Nicholas Cruz. There was that one guy. Do you remember his name? He's like the half Asian guy. You remember him? He had the BMW. He was saying how girls didn't want him. That guy. Remember that guy? Oh, what's his name? Does anyone know his name? He had a manifesto. You guys have to know what he's talking about. He was this guy. He was like half Asian. He had a BMW. He got picked on, I think. He wasn't successful with women. He wasn't a bad looking guy either. That one. Yes. There we go. There is now. Him. I was shocked. I was like, oh my goodness. Here we go. Yes. Here we go. Yeah, see? This guy. Sad. Yeah. I haven't read his I actually should read it because I'm kind of curious about it. He had one, but yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what. Yeah, see this? I read some of this stuff, and it's like the excerpts that I did read sounded very much like he just couldn't understand why women weren't into him. But then he had this whole little spiel about stuff. I really should lock down and read that one day. It is. You know what the thing is? It's not just easy to say, it's really the right thing to do. It's like the answer to bullying, the answer to, getting rejected isn't to make the situation worse. It isn't to go and cause injury or harm to other people. And I've heard about some people, they say stuff like, oh, like I got a divorce or I got rejected, so therefore I'm going to do this. And, like they can't move on. Kind of like what was the name? What was it? Like, was it Jodi Arias? Jodi Arias was like a similar thing like that. Like, what was it? Jodi Arias and her boyfriend Travis. I think his name was Travis something. They broke up, and then she like killed him. And I was thinking, what the beat, man? Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? But I those are certain things like I would not understand. At all. So, yeah. And this thing has definitely strayed a lot from my original stream, but yeah, act emotionally. I think that it wasn't just impulsive though. What you see with the Elliot Rodgers, Nicholas Cruz, Jodi Arias, it was premeditated. And that's a horrific thing about it, because it's like their mind wasn't kept in check. They had nothing to say like, okay, well, I know things are shitty for me, but let me give it some time. Let me see if, let's see if I can get away from this area or something like that, right? And at the end of it, it's like everybody knows them for not the reasons that they wanted to. It's like people focus on the death associated with them, and yeah. And then, the families, right? The families of like Nicholas Cruz or Elliot Rodgers is like, they're probably thinking like, shit, everybody thinks the family is, associated with the murderer. Maybe the family's all screwed up. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. What is this? Vernon something. Let me check. Okay, let's read this, because I'm super curious about this stuff. What is this? What is this Vernon God Little thing? Pulitzer. Oh. Ooh. Should I even read the plot synopsis? I don't want to read the plot synopsis. Yeah, foster parents. Yeah, yeah, that's, oh, yeah, I don't really know too much about the Nicholas Cruz situation, but all this freaking inner rage kind of thing, it's like, it makes me think like how many people are out there with like this freaking inner rage sort of stuff, and it's like they don't find any way to release it except to cause harm to other people. Who knows? Who knows? So, yeah. Well, I'm gonna get going. I gotta go do some laundry. But I like talking to you guys, and I hope the crime shooting stuff goes down in New York. But I'm not holding my breath because I don't know what caused it to go up. Yeah, you know what? I don't think it's just living conditions. I think that people need to treat each other better. I think that, and people are going to give me shit about this, but I feel like sometimes if you treat people a certain way and you don't change your way on how you treat certain people, eventually they end up at a breaking point, and then they could end up snapping, right? You don't know how much they would snap. And it gets very, very dangerous when you have certain people who it's like they don't feel this way just about one person, but they feel this way about several people or a whole group of individuals as well. And it just causes this kind of like animosity and divisiveness. And I will just leave it at that. It's like people need to come together rather than try to be fragmented. And my worry is that you'll see, we will see people who it's like us against them, or, if you're not with us, like you're against us. And yeah, it's like there needs to be people coming together and saying, okay, let's come with the baseline and just all, just try to understand each other, treat each other with respect, and don't just have these preconceived notions like if you happen to be something like a Leo, then you have to be, just as bad as like Derek Chauvin. And yeah, I think that it is sad when some people, it's like they just and I've seen this. People are lashing out at NYPD, and it's not even people who've done anything directly. It's just merely being associated with NYPD. It's like people think of them as pieces of shit. It's like, well, did that person specifically do anything? But the answer would be no. But because they're with NYPD, it's like they're perceived to be like garbage. I know. Oh. Yeah, some people are like that. And I know, like, yeah, that's a thing. Like, it's like, people jump on this whole bandwagon about ACAB, right? And I kind of think like, so does that mean you've spoken to all of them, right? Have you spoken to all of them? And then if you bring up certain points like that, right, people will get pissed off and be like, you don't know what you're talking about. You just you're pro cop or something like that. Or it's like people feel like they're so woke. It's like you see people graffiti this stuff all over New York and they feel like they're doing such a patriotic thing, but truly what they're doing, it's like, okay, let's think about this, right? You vilify the cops. If crime goes up like it has been going up, who do you want to protect you, right? Who do you want to investigate things if something happens? Probably NYPD. Yeah. So I just you won't see me ever join on the ACAB thing. I will definitely get behind police brutality, 100%. Police brutality, failures of, let's say, NYPD. I'll get behind that if it's like I feel like if I feel like, yeah, there was some gross misconduct over there. But I'm not going to just jump on the bandwagon of being anti-cop just because it's like a lot of people are anti-cop, and it just that's the other thing too that disturbs me about what's going on. And I'm just going to talk about specific certain things that I see around New York. It's like people get together and they think it's so hip to be ACAB, and it's like, oh, like we're informed, we're enlightened, and all of us are all coming together, spray painting New York with ACAB, and we know better than you, and yeah, we know how things should be run. And some people say, like they want to get rid of the police, and just like, okay, so you think we can manage ourselves? Because managing ourselves without having a police presence probably isn't going to be very good, in my opinion. And yeah, same thing. It's like you hear certain people, they think they know better, and they'll say things like, "Oh, well, how come a cop didn't react this way? How come they couldn't just talk someone down? Why couldn't they? How come they didn't know that the person, how did they know that someone was gonna stab someone? Maybe they were just gonna drop it. Maybe they were gonna stop in the nick of time, but." Yeah, and then you got other people who say like, oh well, maybe they could have fired a taser or just shot them in the leg instead. I'm like, frick, how many of you guys have actually fired a weapon or fired a taser? Do you think you can have that split second response? Because I couldn't. freaking I couldn't, for sure. Yeah, so it's like, oh, that's a thing. So I hear about that same kind of thing. It's like, what was that kind of stuff? Like I had family who had to deal with, you know, the Occupy Wall Street people. The whole like, you know, you should be against all the people who are 1%. It's like, well, you know, we are the 99%. And maybe I'm veering off track here, but it's like if you don't agree with them, right? And kind of thing, or just have like a hatred for Jeff Bezos, it's like, okay, well, and you're a bad person. It's like, oh. Yeah, sure, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah. But you know, some people they just get so pissed off about certain things, and at least you know, as I know people are gonna get pissed off, but I'm just happy I don't hear much about the freaking Adam Toledo thing anymore. Because I'm like, the more I hear about this freaking 13-year-old kid, like always the highlight 13-year-old kid, the more it pisses me off about that. Like, just take away the age, focus on the facts. What would you do, right? Jeff Bezos, he runs things harshly. I am not anti-union. I think that the metrics are insane. I really do feel that way. But Amazon, it's like you can't blame, like what I see in New York is like some people blame Amazon for killing mom and pop stores, right? But the way I see it, it's like, yeah, if they have a lower price in a store in Brooklyn, then I'm not gonna blame Amazon for having a lower price. Like there are certain items like I see in Brooklyn, I'm like, holy shit, that's so freaking expensive. And then if I go online, it's much cheaper because instead of them having to pay storefront, right? They just have it from a warehouse and then they ship things and yeah. But I see like at least in Brooklyn, it's like they don't like Jeff Bezos because it's like they see him as just being this mega conglomerate and like it's not and people give me crap about this, but it's like I'm not gonna fault Jeff Bezos for having a lower price in a store in Brooklyn. Um yeah. It's like and yeah, it's like okay, you know, Amazon's a very big company and they're very well diversified, but that doesn't make Jeff Bezos like you know, on like a freaking how would I say it? Like sometimes when I hear about people talk about Jeff Bezos, it almost makes it sound like they think he's some kind of uh, like Kim Jong Un or something. Jeez. Uh, yeah, I heard the shit that they did with what was it? Was it Chewy.com? It was like no, diapers.com. Diapers.com. I was like, damn, but yeah, that's stuff I was just kind of horrified by it, but what can you do, right? It's technically not breaking the law. You guys can look that up. You guys can look that thing up. Yeah, eBay is cheaper too. eBay is cheaper too. So when yeah, I mean like I respect people who have different views about that, who preach that we should shop Brooklyn and not shop Basil's, but cost of living in Brooklyn is high. And some stuff in Brooklyn, if you try to buy it in stores, it's significantly more expensive than online. I'm not just talking Amazon, I'm just talking about online in general. So, yeah. Okay. Okay, you guys. Well, I really got to get going. So, this was quite a long talk about stuff. So, yeah. Okay, hold up a second. Yeah, here's the thing. Like, I don't mind saying this kind of stuff, and I actually like having these discussions with you because it's like sometimes it's like I learn stuff, and sometimes other people are like, oh, I didn't really think about that. But let's be real here. Like, people will not talk about this stuff on YouTube technically because they're worried about their channel, right? They're worried about like viewership or they're worried about censoring. And my monetization off this video is already off. So yeah, I know this video is not going to get recommended by all the stuff that I recommended. You know, Nicholas, Cruz, Parkland, that kind of stuff. See, I've mentioned it again. Yeah, YouTube's gonna be like, hey, we gotta hide this because it's not politically correct. I should talk about things like sugar cookies. Let's talk about the wonders of making sugar cookies today, or let's talk about flowers, or let's talk about, you know, hearts, stars, and rainbows, and that's something advertisers will like to hear. But I think people need to just kind of I wish more people would give their views about certain things, but I get it. You know, it's like if you're if you want to not be censored by YouTube, you probably shouldn't be talking about certain things like that. What I talk about for sure, because yeah, YouTube ain't gonna be too happy about that. Yep. So there we go. Shoes, cookies, dresses, unicorns, and only. There we go. Yeah. See that? Yeah, that's the other thing too. People need to recognize that although you're buying from an American company, you need to realize where your product is being made in, right? You could buy something from, yeah, if something is made in Vietnam or China or India or I don't know, Turkey or something like that, right? You don't know child labor laws, and I've come to the realization of this. There is a very real possibility that there were at least a couple things that I have that I never knew that had child labor. And I look down upon child labor. However, I know child labor exists because the parents or the family wants a child to work to make money, right? It's not like in the US where there's social systems in place. I don't think that India or certain third, I'm not too sure, like India or like Vietnam or I don't know, some remote area has things like food stamps or community fridges or WIC, that kind of stuff. So if you don't have any social systems in place and the kid is costing you money, naturally you're going to tell the kid, hey, you're 5 years old, go to work in the factory so that way you're not just eating cost. So I don't, yeah, I think that that's something that people need to really think about and not just look down upon child labor because it's a child working. Same as is like, you can't just like give someone a free pass because they're fucking 13 years old, right? Oh, well, they were a baby. It's like, okay, can you take out the freaking 13-year-old? Well, people have the same reaction if the person wasn't 13. Right? I think they wouldn't just see him as a baby. And that's the thing that sickens me about how the media is. Like the media likes to portray certain individuals in a very angelic light because of their age. And I'm like, you got to see it for what it is. It's like anybody can take a picture next to a bunch of, I don't know, like a bunch of stuffed animals, and then you could be like, "Oh, look, this person is so innocent" or something. But what if they did some pretty heinous stuff? I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, what about you, Erica?" But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. So I like it when I read YouTube comments about certain things, and I see people putting in facts, people putting in their own opinions. And even if it doesn't agree with me, right? It's like I read that kind of stuff and I say, hey, this is something that the media would not report. And I appreciate that. There are certain things it's like I was in the wrong and I read about it. I was like, oh crap, yeah, I never thought about it that way. Yeah, but sometimes it's like the media doesn't like reporting that kind of stuff. They like to only report what gets them sensationalist views, for sure. Okay, so board engineer says it wasn't just he was 13, it was because he was 13 and had his hands up when he shot. No. It wasn't, here's the thing. If I'm not talking about the slowed down footage, I'm talking about the real live footage. If you were a cop and you were put in that position and someone turned around really quickly and last time you saw they had a weapon, wouldn't you assume that they were going to shoot at you? I would. So it's like I can't be like, oh, the cop was out trying to kill this 13-year-old. It's like, no, the cop wanted to preserve their own life, and I have no problem saying if I was that cop, I would have shot the kid too. I would have been like 100% shot the kid. Oh well. But the problem is that when you shoot a kid, right? If you shoot anybody, actually, if you shoot anybody who is, let's say, yeah, if you shoot anybody who's a teenager, especially if they're considered to be a minority and you're a cop, especially if you're a white cop, like, geez, like, you're kind of SOL. You know, you're going to be deemed instantly a racist. It's like, well, what was your problem? Oh, you were white. Oh, okay, so you were white and you shot someone who was a minority, and therefore you instantly become a racist. I think there's a flaw with that. And yeah, if you know, some people, it's like I have no problem just like looking at the facts and saying like, yeah, I don't find any faults in the Adam Toledo case at all with the cop. It's like, at all. Yeah, that's the thing. But you know what the thing is, when you look at the media, I've shown you guys some clips about it. It's like they'll report the story, right? And then they'll show the raw footage, and then right when he drops the gun, or right when he turns, they'll pause it for like 5 seconds. They'll pause it for 5 seconds, and then 2 seconds later, then they'll have the gunshot. So then, for a viewer who watches this, right, who doesn't watch the live footage, they're gonna think, oh, so he turned around and there was like a 5 second delay before the cop shot. It's like it wasn't that yeah thing. It wasn't that big. What are you talking about? Are you talking about Adam Toledo? Adam Toledo was a tiny little boy. Yeah, okay, born engineer. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, what? Adam Toledo's, no, okay. I guess you're talking about the other one. The oh god, I keep forgetting her name. I know some people are gonna give me shit about that, I forgot. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about, the one who had a knife. Bryant. I know that was her last name. Yeah. People really need to do their own research or look online for impartial news media sources and make their own decisions. I really like it when there's new information that comes out, for sure, because it keeps me a little bit more informed about certain stuff. So I am, yeah, there's a thing too, right? So I'm going to be making a video. I don't know if it's going to be later today. We'll see how I feel like. But I did a whole freaking huge amount of research about a case. And just to give you guys a little bit of a teaser, because it's going to be a long stream. It's going to be probably about an hour long. Yeah, I stayed up till 4 a.m. one day, and I was just doing a lot of fucking research. So it came down to this. So it involves a cat getting killed in New York. And can you guess where in New York this cat got killed? Brooklyn, unsurprisingly. So this actually happened relatively recently, and I've been finding a lot of information about the case. I wanted to make a video yesterday, but I didn't feel like doing it. So maybe later today I'll make it. Yeah, Brooklyn, unsurprisingly. And I feel really bad, but this is one of the reasons why I will not walk Oreo out on a leash, because some pretty heinous stuff. So long story short, this is what happened. A couple was walking their cat on a leash in Brooklyn, in a park, and they also had the dog, and they also had a parrot on their shoulder. So this kid comes up, and it's conflicting information. Maybe the kid tripped on the cat. Maybe they said either kid tripped on the cat or they kicked the cat, but the cat ended up dying. And what happened as a result of that is the kid ran back to their family. The parents beat the shit out of the pet owners, and then also hurt the animals, the dog and the parrot that was there too. And this has been a huge thing. And the cat was actually pretty famous on Instagram, had 33,000 followers. Not just the cat, but like I guess it's a cat's Instagram, but they also had the other pets on there too. So yeah, but I'll go into that in detail because I don't want this to be a very convoluted stream. It's already convoluted, but just be wary. Freaking Brooklyn. I heard about Brooklyn. I was like, no, not Brooklyn. Why is this happening in Brooklyn? We got shootings, we got assaults, we got people possibly, allegedly, you know, hurting cats on a leash. Definitely, allegedly hurting animals in a public space, in a public park. And yeah, I had to think about it this way. I thought, man, I would, this reading this kind of stuff, it just makes me think like, yeah, I could never walk the cats outside. So someone had sent Oreo a little leash, and they bought off the kitty wish list. I was walking Oreo. Right now the stairs are getting painted, so definitely not walking Oreo right now. But yeah, I try to walk Oreo outside. I can't walk Oreo outside because he is so freaking fat, you guys. He is so fat. I have no problem shaming this cat right now. He is so fat. He has neck rolls that if I try to put the harness on him, even if it's tight, his neck skin goes over his head. Like, he has a lot of neck rolls. I didn't realize how much neck rolls this cat has. So he can actually escape from his harness. So Oreo cannot be walked out in a harness outside because I will lose Oreo with his little Shar-Pei-like neck. So if you guys are not familiar with Shar-Peis, he's like this. Like, this is how I view Oreo. Like, he just has like a lot of loose skin over his neck. So if I'm trying to keep the thing on his neck, he slips right off. For sure. Yeah, his flap allows him to get free. Yeah, I almost lost him. I was very, very lucky that someone saw me struggling with Oreo and they caught him. Because Oreo was trying to wiggle his way out from me, and I was like, Oreo, Oreo. He was on the other side of a fence, and he wanted to jump down, and I didn't want him to go down there because I was afraid he was going to hang himself accidentally. Because the leash is only so long, right? So yeah, I was trying to prevent him from jumping, but he was wiggling out of his harness, and thankfully someone crossed the street and they saw him. They just scooped him up, and I was like, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so he's not a tubby cat, so it's just like, yeah, the harness thing, it won't work for Oreo. He has too much loose skin around his neck. I never realized how much loose skin he has around his neck, but he really does. It's very pliable. So he has thick skin. Yeah, he has thick. Yeah, he has a lot of skin. So I thought he was gonna be like some kind of solid padded mass. Not the case. Not the case. So if I walk Oreo, it has to be only indoors only. So he can't escape from me. And yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say about this. When I do my other stream about that Instagram cat that unfortunately got killed, really heinous stuff. Really heinous stuff. You guys will see that. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. You guys have a wonderful Sunday